kind of a combined question, at least I added it. Why is fire resistance, torpedo damage reduction equipment useless, and when to build for AA? So really an equipment task. Let's gonna pop this right back up. Let's quickly do that. Okay, so this is all because of percentages. So when you look at math, I know it's annoying and everything like that. You get the fire and flood chance of 15%, and then you have torpedo damage reduction of 15.9%. When we actually go in and look at the fire and flooding resistance plus 10%, that is not a flat. That is a multiplicative increase. Same thing. I think there's one in here, isn't it? Yeah, torpedo damage plus 15%. So plus 15% is actually times 0.15% or 1.5%, and then on this one it's plus 1.1 or times 1.1%, if I can speak right. So when you actually go in and you go, hey, I want to increase my fire and flooding resistance right here. So we got a nice 15% chance on the Black Monarch, which thank you Wargaming for coming out. Finally, I got this ship. It's so nice. But fire and flood resistance, that is going to be 15% times 1.1 or 1.15% increase. It's not that big of an increase. It really isn't. And that's the problem, is that, yeah, you could increase your fire and flood resistance, you could increase your torpedo damage resistance, but the percent that they actually increase is not much. If all of a sudden it was a flat additive, so let's say you want to increase your fire and flooding resistance and you increased it by 10%, so you got a 25% chance of fire and flood, that would be a amazing buff. Probably overpowered on certain ships, but overall it's just because it's just the multiplicative and not an additive amount. So you literally run into this case where if you increase it, it's not going to be that much, it's not going to save you more, and let alone, especially in these levels, you have acceleration, you have steering, you have concealment, you have rudder, you have propulsion, you have much better mods that will help you survive a lot longer. Now, actually, for the AA, generally what I would say if I go over to the Worcester right here, because I actually do have it spec'd out, fully spec'd out for AA, why and when would you want to actually go full out spec A? So this is actually something that Boblin made a recent video on how to change up carriers. Pigbay has talked about changing player or the plane health overall for carriers and such. For these equipments, you're actually generally going to be using auxiliary armament mod 1 to realistically buff your secondary battery range, not your AA range, because AA can only focus so many targets at once. And yeah, you can increase your small caliber AA damage and then your range even more with these ones, but realistically, you're not truly helping your team that much, nor yourself that much more. I did this more for the memes, because the Worcester already has an insane AA, and I would say that unless the ship has over 8,000 points in AA in the spec sheet, or just has really decent AA in general, don't run anything for buffing the AA, because you'll survive better by using your propulsion to dodge more, or your steering, you're steering right here, or your concealment to dodge those carriers better. But like for the Worcester, you definitely can go a full AA build, but like the Des Moines, it does just fine without an AA build, and it has pretty decent AA. AA really needs a full change up. I definitely would suggest going over and watching Bob Lynn's video on how to fix CVs. I think he's got some interesting ideas. I think PB's idea of just nuking plane health, or at least minorly tweaking it down, I think that's also a good option as well for that. But realistically, the AA equipment, like just for this one, you're mostly going to be using it to buff the secondary firing range of certain ships. For me here, actually, even this would be a better slot here, but I just hate the Worcester, so I just use it as an AA barge and have fun there. So, yep, that's my opinion. Just generally don't build for AA. Even, actually, another good one that now I think about it is the Holland and such. You can build the Holland for AA, but it's just so much better of a gunboat. So run it like a gunboat or a torpedo boat, stuff like that, or a DD in general. It does have good AA, but it's just not worth the equipment cost and everything, and you're not going to see a negligible increase pretty much at all whenever you are running that setup. So, all right, back to questions. Let's keep it up. Let's keep it up. I feel like I'm making a pretty good dent on this. Oh man, yeah. Hey, there is some gold. If you're a CV and you pocket yourself in the back, you generally generate gold every game. Oh yeah, that happens.
You lied to me.
CVs, get out of the corner of the map, please. Just get out of the corner of the map. Next question. What supplies should I run on what ship? Ooh, okay, so generalistically, actually, this one's kind of weird. Generalistically, so for battleships, you're going to be running improved crew rations, preventative maintenance, and refined diesel. For DDs or low health light cruisers and like that, you're actually going to swap out preventative maintenance back for high grade coal, so you can focus on your detection radius rather than your health, because this 3% is maybe going to help you take one more shot in a game. It's not really that helpful here. So for a battleship, you want to run these three. Generally, you can run extra AA damage, of course, if you're on full meme Worcester build and everything like I do, but generally I'd say no. Carriers, of course, will be running refined aviation fuel, supply pack, and high-grade coal, once again, to help out their concealment and such. But yeah, you just want to swap out this and keep up improved crew rations and refined diesel in order to help dodge more and having your surface protection lowered via having destroyers and like that on your destroyers, I'd say. So yeah, those are the general supplies, thoughts. Once you set it up, you're going to kind of forget about it and never worry about it again. So yeah. Next question, how to get more citadels. So there's really no great way to get more citadels in World of Warships Blitz because it is RNG based. You have to pray to RNGs and hope to God you get it right. With that being said, I would say if you use the auto aim trick off, you'll get more full pens, which I believe give you a higher chance of getting citadels in the first place. So if you can learn that auto aim trick off, once again, videos right there, and also I've covered it in a few other ones as well on this channel, and actually a few other content creators have covered it as well. So definitely, once you learn the auto aim trick off a little bit more, I do believe you end up getting more citadels overall in the game, but I'm not going to say that it's a surefire. So just kind of understand, citadels are RNG. Generally, just try to get more full pens, and you'll generally get more citadels, I'd say. It's kind of rough. Next question. When will Goliath be buffed? Ooh. Oh, yeah. I'm sipping only because it's kind of a joke at this point, because every update keeps on coming and the Goliath doesn't get changed. It doesn't. And I absolutely hate that it hasn't gotten buffed. Now, I agree with Hiromi and Eyes. I agree. I think they should be little pocket battle cruisers, but I do know there is a British battle cruiser line. Let's quickly pop up the game here. I know I don't have it on my main, but we can generally talk about it on this, and I won't grind it until they buff it. So the Goliath needs to get buffed badly because it doesn't just have problems. It's not just like the Golden Legion where it feels like it's missing something. The Goliath is fundamentally flawed. And the fundamental flaw is the actual how long it takes to shoot, because it's based off of a high chance of fire. So you're trying to get fires, but because of the reload time, actually there's certain times where your shots will be off, set a fire. By the time that person heals, your second shots literally have no chance of setting another fire because they're still within that invulnerability phase. So the Goliath sometimes has it where it will fire at one target and one target alone, and every few salvos, literally, there's no chance of its gimmick of getting additional damage for it to really work. And then on top of it, its AP damage is absolutely anemic, so it's really bad there. On top of it, it's, hey, by the way, I wanna hide this thing right here. You're gonna hide that thing in smoke at tier 10. Yeah, buddy, good luck on that one. Good luck. I know many people who have the Goliath that the smoke is more of an ocean button. It's not a tactical button. It's an ocean button. That's all. And that's not realistically what regular smoke generators should be being used as. That's what fuel smoke should be used as or something like that. But this ship, there's a lot of things that could change. I've suggested things in the past. Hiromi's suggested. I know a bunch of other content creators. They ask us almost every single time. We just never see any changes because, of course, they have to change the entire line down there. And when you have the line literally start off with what is considered one of the worst ships in the game.
I need to learn some morals and values.
Look at him and tell me there's a god. He made me in his own image.
I would love for them to actually buff this so much that it becomes one of the best tier 5s. It'd be kind of funny and such. And then it's just mediocre, 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 horrible. And then it kind of works at tier 10, but it just once again has that fundamental flaw. I hope the Goliath will be buffed eventually, but yeah, it's not happening yet. It's not happening yet. And okay, oh, we got one last question here. And actually, I kind of like this one to end off as tier 8 Tiermaker when. So I generally do my tier makers about once a year. I try to keep it that just because it is a lot of work to do a whole Tiermaker month. There's a lot of prep work that needs to be done. I'm talking, you know, I think my last premium guide was an hour or so long. And then on top of it, I had like 14 pages of notes and such because there's just so many ships. You can't remember them all on the fly. You have to go through, write out your notes, write out your thoughts on it, and then let alone, do you want to do a community tier maker? Do you just want me to do a tier maker? There's so many other ones, but tier 8 is a pain in the butt because tier 8 is problematic. Tier 8's tier maker, you either have to go off of the competitive side or you go off of the general random side. And by the way, they're completely different tier makers. Ships go in completely different spots. And that's the real true problem. Where like tier 10, generally if you put a ship in competitive, about everyone goes, yeah, that ship's competitive, or that ship's meta, or that ship's niche. That's pretty slots in there. But in the tier 8 tier maker, I've even talked about being like, all right, cool. Do we want to put a good player in Aroma or a bad player in Aroma? Because they play like two different ships. They're completely different. Don't even get me started on like putting a decent player in a Cossack or Orokin compared to a good player in a Cossack or Orokin. You really, really see a difference. And that's why I haven't done a tier 8 tier maker, because it's just it's very hard to figure out which way I want to go off of because of how different it is. And I do feel like I probably will go off of this idea of, okay, we're going to have a good player in Aroma versus a bad player in Aroma, or a good player in Atlantico versus a bad player in Atlantico. Stuff like that. I think that that's going to be how I eventually go off of that. But now I have to create iconography for that. I have to go through, set up the entire tier maker, set up all of my lists, go off of, what if you put a good player in a Black Admiral Hipper? Well, Hiromi can show that is actually a pretty viable ship with that. But you put a mediocre player in a Black Admiral Hipper, no, it's not even going to be good. I think last year I even did a little template of like, hey, how would I want tier 8 tier maker to look? And it was literally like I started doing almost like, S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, F tier, FA, FB, FC, F. Like you literally had all of these smaller ones because there's a lot of what I would say is usable ships at tier 8, but in the general meta they kind of suck. So tier 8 tier maker, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot to think about within that, and if you've got any general ideas, I'll definitely listen, because it's a massive undertaking to do that, and I'd love any assistance that I could have on making that happen, because I think a lot of people do want to hear that, but I need to try to get it where most people can understand it, because if I go it from the competitive angle, per se Siege of Seas, Ruler of the Waves, Kraken Trials, everything like that, Kumite, like it's if you go off of that, there's a whole different list. It's a whole different style of thinking versus the general randoms and such, and both are very applicable videos. I think maybe I could cover both, but once again, that's just a lot of notes, a lot of work. And if you're willing to help me, I'd take this. I'd take the assistance. But yeah, tier 8 Tiermaker, that's why I went for tier 10. I do want to do all the tiers in the Tiermaker this year, but that's going to be probably August, September, something where I can take the entire summer and just kind of collect notes and everything, you know, kind of spread out the workload. But yeah, this has been frequently asked questions about Blitz via using ChatGPT and Discord a little bit. So once again, join up on Discord if you haven't already. It's in the link tree link down below. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed a video like this. And how to sell boat again. Great job getting into the top question. You guys are gonna poison that bot. All of you are gonna poison that bot. But alright, I'm gonna end this video. Everyone, hopefully you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. Hit that notification bell to see whenever a new video is live. Of course, all of my links are in the link tree link down below. Special shout out to the YouTube membership, Patreon members, and super chatters. Thank you all for the love and support for making this channel happen and making this all happen. It's an absolute blast to do this all. And yeah, let me know if there's any other questions you want me answered down in the comment section down below. Have a good one. Peace.